Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. I got a question for you today. What's your business's biggest mental health challenge right now? Now, we like to think that everything is hunky-dory and perfect with our organizations and our businesses, especially the ones that are our babies, the ones that we created and are building and supersizing. But the truth is, just like us as individuals, we all have improvement areas and challenges, and they all start in our mind, right? They're all mental initially because they're ideas or thoughts or beliefs that we need to address. And our businesses are no different. And actually, our businesses probably have more of them because we're more than just us when it comes to building and growing and supersizing our business, at least in most cases. Some people are solopreneurs, but the vast majority of people that are listening to me right now have help building their business. So today, my challenge for you, as well as for my Be a Better You annual challenge group, is what's your biggest mental health or mental well-being challenge right now? Now, I'd like us to use a similar process that we used yesterday to identify what that is, because that process to me felt more like identifying challenges and then flipping them around to create mental well-being goals. So the first step was to deeply reflect on our current situation, our current state, our current mental state as an organization or as a culture. Does it feel like the culture and the thinking and the mental well-being and health of the organization is really, really good and sound? Or are there little chinks in its armor? I like to think that, and we all as humans like to think that we don't have any of those. But if we're really reflecting and being perfectly honest with ourselves, we all have challenges, some of us every single day. I don't know about you, but I think we in my organizations and I as an individual face different challenges and options and decision-making points every single day of my life. And that's what the journey is all about, right? It's about how do we handle these challenges. And so what we're going to do is we're going to identify today what is a challenge or our biggest challenge. I say take the biggest one and start with that because it's going to have the biggest impact on your organization. If you know that your organization has pockets of toxic relationships, or if it has pockets of negative thinking or negative beliefs or false beliefs about what your business is capable of, those are things we want to address right off the bat because they're foundational. And if we don't fix that foundation, we're going to struggle for as long as our business exists. But if we fix them, we can build on a solid foundation and create the business that we want. And then over the next 4 days, we're going to apply the SOAP framework to the challenge that we identify today so that we can work ourselves through the SOAP process, add it to our toolbox so we have it available for us whenever we need to face a challenge or when we have a goal or an objective or something that we want. It's not only a process for dealing with challenges or setbacks or obstacles or whatever you call them, roadblocks, sometimes laws and rules and outside influences, competition, whatever you define that as. So we're going to look at that first. We're going to pick one, and it's easy to pick one. You usually know intuitively right off the bat what is the number one thing what idea or thinking or thought related or belief that is holding your organization back. But if you don't, you can look for toxic relationships in your organization. You can look for poor work-life boundaries in your area. Do you have a couple of people in your organization that all they do is work? Because are they setting an example for everybody else? Sometimes I used to be that person. I used to think that I had to work harder than everybody else in the organization, longer hours, do more, create 5 times the results or 10 times the results in order to be successful, in order to feel like I was doing a good job. And that did set an example and encourage other people to come along, but it also caused me to burn out and almost die at one point in my life. So I don't recommend that strategy. I think that we can always be improving and always be excelling and being the best version of ourselves, but we don't have to do that at the expense of ourselves. We clarify what well-being and mental health means to us first day of this month. If you need to go back and review that, or if you want to revisit that or get more input on that, go ahead and do that today so that what you choose to work on is in alignment with where you want your business to go as far as supersizing and growing and, being the business that you want to be. But we forget that, I don't know if you do, but I forget sometimes that the lifeblood of our organization is our culture. And that all starts with our mental health and well-being. Most organizations totally ignore this. I know for decades I ignored it in my businesses and in my personal life until I realized and got a huge wake-up call that it can't be ignored. We have to take care of our thinking before anything else falls in line and everything else falls in line. So maybe this is the area I should start with every year, but I didn't. I mixed everything up this year when it comes to the life framework and the different areas that we talk about every year: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, contribution, communication, and confidence. Those are the 9 life framework areas that I use to kind of add structure to my businesses and structure to my life in what is otherwise a pretty chaotic existence for the vast majority of us. So today, all you have to do is pick your biggest mental health or well-being challenge. And we're going to jump into the SOAP framework tomorrow. Any questions about this? If you're having trouble figuring out what one you want to do, it doesn't have to be your biggest. It doesn't have to be the most urgent. If you're like some people, you want to start with something small and build up. But me, I like to go for the gusto and find, okay, what's the biggest thing right now that pops into my head that's keeping me up at night that I need to deal with? And that's the thing I do first, because I know it's going to have the biggest impact on me. And if it has an impact on me, it's going to have an impact on my business. All right, hit me up if you have any questions. Otherwise, have an amazing day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.